of silence, observed not only across the United Kingdom, but in several other countries. A final goodbye to Queen Elizabeth II. Steeped in rich British and Christian tradition, her funeral was held at Westminster Abbey, the 800-year-old building where she married and later crowned. World leaders, heads of government, dignitaries and other royals were in attendance. On her casket, the imperial state crown and the sovereign sceptre and war, symbols of the power of the monarchy, controversially its colonialism, this caused by many in South Africa and India for the jewels to be returned. The Queen's funeral ushers in a new era. The son Charles III is now king. He's also head of 56 Commonwealth countries, mostly former colonies, with a population of around 2.5 billion. 18 of these countries, he is head of state. Supporters say they benefit from the membership in its bilateral cooperation on international goals.
Thousands of members of the armed forces from the UK and abroad have taken part in the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, one of the grandest ceremonial events in living memory. After days of lying in state, the body of the late Queen Elizabeth II has made its final journey as part of a grand state funeral. It travelled first to Westminster Abbey for a religious service in front of a congregation of thousands, and then to Windsor Castle for a more intimate committal service. Senior members of the royal family, the new king and his sons Prince William and Prince Harry, followed behind. They were joined by members of the royal household. Camilla, the Queen Consort, the Princess of Wales, the Countess of Wessex and the Duchess of Sussex followed the procession in cars. The route was lined by the Royal Navy and Royal Marines, and a guard of honour stood in Parliament Square made up of all three military services, accompanied by a Royal Marines band. A state funeral, typically reserved for kings or queens, follows strict rules of protocol such as a military procession. A procession involving the military, the royal family and those who have dedicated their lives to service of the Queen, gave the late monarch a final farewell full of pomp and pageantry ahead of her burial in Windsor. In Windsor, her coffin joined a third procession to St. George's Chapel in the castle's grounds. But the main focus was the journey through central London. The cortege, led by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, was made up of 7 groups, each with its own band. The national anthem and a lament played by the Queen's piper brought the service to an end just after midday. The Queen's coffin was then drawn in a walking procession from Westminster Abbey to Wellington Arch, at London's Hyde Park corner. The King and senior members of the royal family joined the cortege in the quadrangle in Windsor Castle. The castle's Sebastopol and curfew tower bells tolled every minute and gun salutes were fired from the castle's grounds. The Queen was then lowered into the royal vault and the sovereign's piper played before a blessing and the singing of God Save the King. The performance by the piper at Windsor was something the Queen had personally requested, Buckingham Palace said. In the evening, at a private family service, the Queen was buried together with her late husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, at the King George VI Memorial Chapel, located inside St. George's Chapel. Her marble slab is engraved Elizabeth II 1926 to 2022. King Charles III wrote his late mother a card that is placed atop the coffin of the Queen. He wrote, "In loving and devoted memory, Charles R.